What's up, y'all? Sean G. I went to the Diddy trial today. Today is May the 14th, 2025. And, it was interesting. Cassie was on the stand. Cassie is victim number one in the indictment. She's the star witness for the prosecution. She is the linchpin for this case. And what Cassie described to me today, well, not to me, Cassie described for the judge, the courtroom, and the jury and the prosecution today, she was direct examined by the prosecution, which is going to be a lot more friendly than the defense are going to do to her on the cross-examination, which is going to happen tomorrow, May the 15th, 2025. She testified today under oath that she initiated some fights with Puff. She punched him in the face, and then he would beat her ass. She also testified that there were times that he would just jump on her and beat her up because he got mad. She testified that she would fight back, that they would be fighting each other. But she did testify today under oath on the stand that there was sometimes she initiated the fights. Obviously, she didn't win because you're talking about a man against a woman and a bigger man against a smaller woman. But she let it be known that she was getting busy too with Puff. Sneaking him first. Bow. There was a lot of domestic violence. Cassie testified that the domestic violence started right after the first year. They got together in 2007, and the domestic violence took off in 2008. That's when the domestic violence really kicked off, 1 year after they got together. Cassie stated on the stand, I initiated fights with Puff. Cassie punched Puff in the face after he called her a slut and a bitch. They were at a function, and Cassie was talking to a producer, probably was a dude, and Puffy saw them from across the room, got mad, pulled her to the side, or when they left and got in the truck, I think it was a Cadillac Escalade, he called her a slut and a bitch, and she, bang, punched him in the face. They started fighting. She showed many pictures. The prosecution showed many pictures of bruises on Cassie's back. She described Puffy kicking her in the back. Puffy cutting her eye. She having golf ball size knots on her head. He was abusive. He was physically abusive. The relationship was full of abuse. It was full of domestic violence abuse on both parts. Cassie testified to that today. They had a drug field, the drugs that they both took. Cassie testified that they both got high. These are some of the drugs that they took: MDMA, cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, ketamine, right? Cassie herself on the stand self-proclaimed that she was addicted to opiates. She had a bad opioid addiction. Cassie testified on the stand. She says, I was addicted to benzos, Xanax, Valium, Norco, I guess that's some kind of opiate, Percocet, Vicodin, Oxycontin, you know. And she said she got high daily, every single day. Puffy too, on all of these types of drugs. She testified that Puffy had relationships with doctors to get prescription drugs, and he would get these prescription drugs from doctors that he knew, in different names of different people, and that they both were high most of the time. Especially during the freak-offs, right? And the freak-offs were nothing more than Puffy and Cassie with one other male escort. That was the totality of a freak-off, as told by Cassie on the stand today. This is what she said. Now, I initially had the image that this was like you walk into this house and there's all these things going on, these different people, and it was none. That's not what she testified to today. On the stand, under oath, questioned by the United States government. A lot of violence, a lot of domestic violence. I think Puffy and Cassie were in a codependent, drug-fueled, obsessive love affair engaging in a sexual swingers lifestyle. But I know they loved each other. And I wouldn't be shocked, I was watching her on the stand today. I was watching Cassie on the stand today and listening to her. I think she still loves Puffy. I think she will forever love Puffy. And I think Puffy still loves her. I think they have, they share a special bond that to this day, that's just my personal feeling. But listening to her today, and she started crying on the stand when she began to talk about, after they broke up, and in 2022 and 2023, when she wrote this book, that she tried to get $30 million from Puff from. But she says before she did that, she wrote this book and she was going to see a therapist for trauma. She was coming off, I went to rehab in February 11, 2023. I went to rehab and trauma therapy, and she was contemplating taking her own life. This is in 2023. This is 2 years ago, right? After she's married and has 2 kids with her new husband. After she's left Puff, she's gone on, she's married her personal trainer, Alex Fine. They're married, they have 2 kids, and she is coming off of a Valium addiction, and she went to rehab and trauma therapy and was contemplating ending it all. And she actually went to her husband and said, listen, you could do this without me. you guys would be better without me, meaning the kids and him. Y'all could do this without me. And she was gonna walk out into traffic. She was gonna walk out into high-speed traffic and end it all. And her husband talked her out of it. And she said she was coming off of a Valium addiction then. This is around the time that she wrote the book about her thoughts. And this is where the prosecution was coming to an end. She wrote the book about her thoughts. And she called Puffy's assistants to try to get in touch with Puff. She even called, I guess, KK. I don't know who KK is, Chris. And she even tried to call Puff because she wanted Puff to read the book. She wanted Puff to read the book to see how she was suffering from what they both had went through in that 11-year physically abusive, drug-fueled, toxic, obsessive relationship that involved perverted sex. And Puffy never reached that back out to her and to say, okay, I'll read the book. And she said on the stand, she says, all I wanted him to do was to tell me he was sorry or just to acknowledge my pain, you know, and just to be like, damn, my bad, you know, if you feel that way, I'm sorry, my bad. But he never reached out to her. And this is where she starts crying in the court. And let me tell you, Cassie comes off, she, you know, I have a different impression of her now. She comes across as very honest, very authentic, and she seemed like she was telling the truth to me. I didn't hear no bullshit with her. And she starts crying, and then she says that her mother helped her put her book into a Word document. And this is when she had her attorney reach out to Puffy's attorney, and they asked for $30 million for the manuscript to the book so that it wouldn't come out. And he declined. And then she filed a civil suit that we all know, which was in November of 2023. And Puffy settled it. When she filed that federal civil suit, Puffy settled it within 24 hours for $20 million. She got a $20 million settlement. And this is the part where she's crying. And I believe that all she wanted him to do was just say, I'm sorry, acknowledge, you know, her pain and empathize with her pain. You know, and that's it, you know. I want to thank everybody for watching the videos and sharing the videos. Please leave a comment and get ready for the next video. I'm going back over there tomorrow. They're doing the cross-examination of, the defense is going to cross-examine Cassie tomorrow. So I have some more stuff for y'all tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Peace.